Hi, and welcome to the Red Leaf Designs Workshop. I'm Jeremy, and today we are going to walk through the installation of one of our spray decks, specifically one of our spray decks with the hybrid snap and lace attachment system that uses YKK SNAD adhesive studs so that you don't have to drill into your boat. When you order one of our decks, you'll get a stuff sack like this, and inside that stuff sack you'll have your spray deck as well as a bag. And the bag may look like any number of things. We just recycle whatever bags we have handy. So in that bag, if you have a solo deck, you'll find 2 battens for your spray tunnel. If you have a tandem deck, you'll find 4. So you'll have those. You don't need those for the installation. You will find our installation guide. That's an important reference that you'll want to go through. I will try to hit all of the points that are in this guide when we walk through this installation in the video. But it's always a good idea to double check, and there may be updates that we add to the guide that supersede something that might be in this video. So make sure you read through that guide. On the back page of the guide is a full-size template that you're going to use to do the installation, and you'll cut that template out so that it looks like this for the actual installation. So you'll cut out the triangle and then cut out the circle in the middle, and that'll all make sense in just a moment. And then inside the bag, you will also find all of your SNAD adhesive snaps. These are 3M very high bond adhesive backing on a plastic snap tab. They could be black or they may be clear. They'll look red because the backing paper is red, but we also may send you the clear ones if your boat has a lot of curvature to it. These black discs are lower profile. I actually prefer them, but they don't conform to curved surfaces. So I know that on this boat, they'll work great. Your boat, we may end up sending you the clear ones. So and if you have a preference, you can let us know as well. So there are all of your adhesive snaps. Other things that you'll need for the install are going to be some painter's tape, some rags, and then acetone. This is the most important piece. The preparation of the hull, is the most critical part of the entire installation. That will determine whether these stick well or not. If you follow the instructions, they should stick great, and that is what we're going to do next. We're going to clean the boat. In the instructions, you can either put the deck on and then just clean the boat where each SNAD adhesive snap will go using the template. I prefer just to clean the entire boat from the gunnel down to about the 7-inch mark. The template comes down 5 inches, so I clean it all the way down to here. You want to go over it multiple times. The first time you go over it, you may get some dirt or some residue on your cloth. You want to keep cleaning until your cloth comes away completely clean. You'll clean the entire boat, both sides of the hull, and you want the cloth to look just the same way it did when you started. It's critical that you get any wax, any silicones, if you used like a silicone-based car wax. Mold release if your boat's brand new. 303 protectant. Whatever you might have put on your hull, it has to come off so that you have a clean, uncontaminated surface for the YKK snaps to adhere to. So that's what we'll do next. So as you clean the hull, it's really important that your rag really be wet and have a lot of acetone on it. The acetone evaporates very quickly, and you can be using a dry cloth and not realize it. So constantly replenish your cloth with acetone. I'm just finishing up this side of the boat, and you can see when I look at my cloth that there is quite a bit of dark residue. So that's boat scum and old wax and whatever else happened to be on the boat. Road grit, grime, salt, who knows. So I'm going to keep cleaning until I finish and see a white cloth that's just as clean as it was when I started. So I'll keep going. All right, and we've just finished up on this side, and you can see that we have a perfectly clean cloth. So we're going to call it good. The hull is cleaned and prepped, and we are ready to move on to the next step, which is to lay out the spray cover. So we'll do that now. Okay, so we're about to put the spray deck on the boat, you can see that the bow and the stern of the spray deck are labeled. So this very clearly says North Star Polaris stern, and the other side says North Star Polaris bow. So you want to line the appropriate side up with the appropriate end of the boat, which we'll do right now. As you put this on, you will slip this bow loop, or I guess in this case it's a stern loop, the end loop, let's call it that, over the end of the boat. That is adjustable with this strap, and I'm actually going to loosen it up right now so that I have plenty of extra and I can easily fine-tune the location and the fitting of this deck. So, bring this end all the way over here. And once again, we'll just tug this so that the end loop is around the boat. So we'll adjust our strap so that the end cap of the deck is in the right location. We leave about 3 inches of end cap on the boat sticking out past the end cap of the deck. So in this case, that's about 3 inches. I'm going to go adjust the stern, the other end of the boat, so that it also has about 3 inches. That should be about the right tension on the deck. These two end straps are what tension the deck front to back. Now I'm going to go through and double check to be sure that my seams are centered on my thwarts. And they are. And I'm going to make sure that the seats are in the correct locations. And this double checks both the construction of the deck itself, and it also makes sure you don't have the deck on backwards. But in this case, the seats are in the proper locations. Everything looks really good. So we can go ahead and begin installing our deck. Now you're not actually going to snap these tabs onto the snaps that we stick on the boat for about a day. It takes about 24 hours for these discs to reach 90% of their bond strength at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So we don't want to snap and unsnap our deck until everything is installed. The exception to that is if you have the scramble handles, like this deck does. We can't have the front two snaps be the lacing system, because if you were to lift up on this and it was a lacing system, the lacing would just stretch and the scramble handle wouldn't work very well. So on the bow of the boat and the stern of the boat, if you have a scramble handle, there is no lacing. You can see the snaps are directly on the tabs. And so those are actually going to get attached directly to the boat. We're going to do those first here on the bow. So I will take 4 of my adhesive discs and I'm going to snap those onto these tabs. I'll do the same thing here on the other side. And I'm only going to attach these tabs at the scramble handle on the bow to begin with. Then we're going to work our way back, get all of our other adhesive SNADs attached to the hull, and then we'll do the stern. We don't want to do the bow and then the stern right away because the tension could change on the deck as we install those other pieces. So to install these, what I'm going to do is just make sure that the reveal of this end cap is the same so that both of these snaps are going on the correct and same distance down from the gunnels. I'll peel off the backing off of those 2 snaps, and then I'm going to pull down on the deck, make sure that it's tensioned well, and then just swing those 2 pieces in and push them against the hull. I'm going to hold it for about 30 seconds. Okay, so those 2 are now attached. We're going to do the same thing with these 2. So we'll peel the paper backing off. And it's worth noting that if you have the clear SNADs, the paper backing does not come off this easily. You may have to use a razor blade or a knife to get the backing started on those. These just happen to be a lot easier. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tension the deck, make sure that it's about the same distance down, and then I'm just going to swing these into the hull, push them against the sides, and hold it for about 30 seconds. Okay, so those are attached. And now we're ready to move down and do all of the snaps that are part of the lacing system. You can choose to relace your deck any way you'd like. We've pre-attached these snap tabs in the places that we think and we recommend you place the snaps. So there are some places where we'll skip one. You'll also notice that the way that this lacing ends, you can use the center section of the deck without using the end sections. And that's because this is a tandem canoe. You may want that center section, but it's a beautiful, perfect day with no wind, and you might leave the end sections off. It's the opposite on a solo deck. So if this was a solo deck, you would have your lacing end so that you could use just the end sections and leave the middle section out, because the middle section is where you'd sit. So you can readjust these or put snap tabs in different orders if you want, but the positioning that you'll find when you open your deck is what we would recommend. Now, we're going to take this template, and we simply put the template up against the edge of the gunnel, like that, and we make sure that it's centered between those tabs, and right here at the tip of that template is where the snap tab is going to go. To make things easier, we cut this hole here in the template, and you can take a piece of painter's tape, put that painter's tape over the hole, fold on this fold line, and now when you place this up against the gunnels, it'll stay in place. You can take your snap tab, remove the backing, get it right in position, fold this up out of the way, stick it against the hull, and you'll hold it for about 30 seconds. Then when you're done, you simply remove your template, and we'll go down to the next location that has a snap tab. So go right here, place it up against the gunnel, make sure that it is centered between those two tabs, stick it to the hull. I'm just double checking my positioning there. It looks good. So I'll peel the backing off of one of our YKK adhesive buttons, put it down here so that it's in the right place, stick it to the hull, hold it for about 30 seconds again. Okay, we have one more to install on the bow section of the deck on this side, and you'll see that we're going to skip this section. There's no snap tab on this section, so we don't need to install one there, but we do want to install one here. So once again, we'll get this centered between the tabs. That's about right. With the template up against the gunnel, put that in place, remove our paper backing, make sure it's positioned correctly, press it against the hull, hold it for about 30 seconds. Okay, and we will now just continue that down both sides of the boat, leaving the stern and its two snap tabs that are attached to the cover itself. We're going to leave those alone for now, and we're going to get all of these pieces attached to the hull everywhere that there's a snap tab on the cover. This spot, you can see that this one is actually attached to the center cover, and it just kind of hangs loose. That is going to go right here. So that piece actually goes just in front of the end of the cover, so that it has tension applied forward and down on the end of the cover. And you'll have the same thing on all four corners of that cover. So we'll do that and then not make you watch it all, because it's all the same thing over and over and over. So back with you in a moment. Okay, that's 30 seconds holding the last SNAD adhesive snap on the boat. We'll take our template off, and now this is the hardest part of the entire installation. Don't snap these onto the boat, and don't unsnap these for 24 hours. Walk away, just leave, go home, it's over. So 24 hours later, after these have set and the bond is strong, then we'll take care of snapping all of these on, adjusting the tension, and then we will put the SNAD adhesive snaps on for the deck piece in the stern. But we want to make sure that we leave that so the stern is not adhered yet. These four snaps on the stern are not stuck on, because we want to wait until the whole deck is tensioned properly and attached, and we can make sure that we take up the slack and that the stern gets placed in exactly the right spot for optimum tension. So I'm going to walk away. We're back 24 hours later, wearing the same clothes, the same lighting, the same day. Shh, you need to take 24 hours. What we're going to do now is just walk down the boat and put all of these snap tabs onto the YKK adhesive snaps. And we'll do that for the entire length of the boat, and then we'll come back and adjust the tension on these pieces. So I'll snap it all together, I'll be right back, and then we'll take care of the tension. Okay, so all of our snap tabs have been attached to the boat, and you'll notice that everywhere these ropes should be loose. We try to ship it to you with too much rope there. There are two different kinds of knots that we've used. There's a different knot on each end here. This is a sliding knot. It's kind of a variation on a prusik knot that it holds when it's under tension in one direction, but yet when it's not under tension, it will slide. That's the knot that you're going to be able to use to adjust the tension on the deck if you've overloaded above your gunnels and you want to relieve tension so that this can be up, or if for some reason you want to tighten it up even tighter. So this is the knot that you'll use for that. The knot on the other side is simply a bowline. So the bowline is what we're actually going to use to get rid of a lot of the slack. This knot we want to set so that it's about halfway between this tab and the snap tab. So the tab on the deck and the snap tab, this knot sits about halfway between them. That way you can both tighten it and loosen it if you want to. I'm going to show you how to tie this knot really quickly. It's the one that is most likely to come undone. And if you have a different sliding tension knot that you'd like to use, or you'd like to set this up so it's permanent tension with a bowline on both ends, you certainly can do that. So to tie this knot, if this is your running line and this is your bite, the bite crosses over the running line. It passes around the running line twice, so it's like 2 half hitches. Then you come below you come below this knot and you do another simple half hitch and pull it tight. And it's almost like a variation on a prusik knot. You can see how it's got 3 turns around the running side of the line, and it won't slip. It won't slip when it's under tension, but it will slip when it's not under tension. So again, we're going to set that so it's about halfway between the tab on the deck, the loop on the deck, and the snap tab. And then we want to come down here and apply tension to our lines so that we've got about 2 inches of overlap. We want it to be symmetrical on both sides. And then we're going to retie this bowline so that it's the correct tension on the deck. And I'm actually going to loosen this guy just a little because I know I won't be able to get this bowline exactly perfect. So to tie the bowline, we're going to create our loop right there. And the rabbit comes out of the hole and it goes around the tree. Oops, around the tree. And it goes back through the hole. I know that my fingers are blocking that because I'm trying to tie it at the same time that I'm talking. So if you have any questions about tying a bowline, I'm sure there are 1,000 people on YouTube that do it better than I do. But there's our bowline. You can see how much extra rope we got rid of. And now I should be able to use this knot to take up the remainder of the tension. And my bowline actually should have taken up a little bit more. You can see it's not perfectly tensioned, but we are going to go ahead and tension all of these sections, and then we'll come back and show you what that looks like. And we've gone ahead and finished all of that tensioning. You can see that in a number of places we're going to need to cut and shorten the rope, which is really easy to do. This is those bowlines that we talked about. Simply cut it, leaving about 1 inch tail. And then, of course, we need to come back, and without catching your boat on fire, we'll just heat the end of that. And you can use a match. You can use a little blowtorch. You can use whatever you want. And that takes care of those. We'll do that for the entire boat. I won't make you watch me do that. When you're setting the tension, it's important that at the cockpits, you not over-tension it, because there is no fabric here in the cockpit section. It's possible to really overstretch this and pull it way too far down. You just want to make sure the tension is set so that the overlap here in the cockpit sections, beam each cockpit, matches the overlap in the sections that don't have a cockpit. So it should be about 2 inches throughout the entire deck. So you should have about 2 inches of overlap with your gunnels throughout the entire deck. And then the last thing that we need to do before this installation is complete is head down to the stern where we have the other 4 snap tabs on this particular deck that are for the scramble handles, and attach those. We've waited until now because we want to be able to adjust the tension on it and get the tension just right before we put these on. So come on down here and we'll show you. So here is the scramble handle. Here is the adjustment piece. This is the adjustable strap on the back. So you can see this is just a little bit too loose here. So I'm going to pull backwards on the scramble handle until the deck looks like it's the right tension. And then I'm just going to tighten up that strap until I'm happy with the way that it sits. And I think that looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and install these snaps. Again, to do this part, it's easiest if you just do it with the snaps installed on the deck. Ooh, that one's tight. There we go. So we'll just snap these all on. Then, doing the same thing we did up front, we'll start with these two. Peel off the sticker. Again, this is all because you've waited 24 hours, right? It's important that you make sure the hull is still clean. So you may want to just run some acetone over this again if you've followed the directions and properly waited 24 hours. So again, we'll get the reveal about the same, keeping even tension. Just push and hold these for 30 seconds. And then we'll do the same thing with these. So we'll get the reveal even tension. Push it down and hold them in place. And that's it. So we'll get all of these stragglers trimmed up, and that is the installation of your hybrid snap and lace system, SNAD Adhesive no drill deck install. Just a quick item to point out, if this was the standard snaps, there would be basically where these tabs are, that is where the snaps would be. So the snaps would be much higher and tucked just under your gunnels versus being about 5 inches down the hull. We have to drop them down lower so that you have the adjustability of the laces. But that's it. You're done.